Questions. I get a lot of questions. I keep getting a lot of questions about my Hammer Performance Conversion Kit. So we're going to do a part 2. So, okay. First question. Is there a noticeable increase of vibration, and is there a decrease in fuel economy? With this one, there's a lot of variables. You got your tune, you know, what kind of tune you're running, and there's just a lot of variables, so it's going to differ from bike to bike. But my personal experience as far as vibration goes, it's really nothing noticeable. It's tough to say. You know, when I put the bike back together, I was very in tune of what was going on, so I was checking everything twice, and was this like this before, was this doing this earlier, you know, all those questions. But as far as vibration, it's tough to say. I don't really see anything or feel anything different, but like I said, that's got a lot to do with your tune and a bunch of other different factors. So vibration to me is about the same, if any, maybe a little bit more, but nothing that's really noticeable. Fuel economy, again, a lot of variables on this one too, especially with the tune. With the tune that I'm running with the Vance & Hines FP3, I get about the same, to be honest. I'm still in the high 40s, if not 50. I stop to get gas at about 100 miles or so, and it's usually right at 2 gallons. So I'm still running right in that area. So fuel economy for me has stayed about the same. The next question, FP3 or Dynavision? Well, if I had it to do all over again, I would go with the Dynavision, just because it's a little more suited for something of this nature. The FP3 does work. It works fine. It's doable, without a doubt. I did it, and a lot of other people have done it successfully. So yeah, the FP3 does work. My situation was I already had the FP3, and it's $399. I already had it. And when I ordered the kit from Hammer, you know, they wanted to sell me the Dynavision. That thing was like $550. And, you know, my price tag was already up around, I think, $1,100. So, you know, another $550, you know, I was looking at $1,650, $1,700 with tax was just more than I was wanting to spend at that time. So I kept the FP3, and it works fine. When I do these next mods of port and polishing the heads and doing cams, I think I'm going to jump ship and get the Dynavision, just because it's easier. I can send my map to Hammer. They can do all the necessary tweaks. They can email it back. I can flash it. I can ride. It just makes it a little easier. The other question was the break-in. How did you break it in? I broke it in to Hammer's specs. So basically you do some heat cycles, which they explain in the instructions, and then after that it's 2 short rides of like 1 mile and 3 miles. The whole key behind the break-in is keeping the heat down and air moving over the cylinders while you're riding. So you don't want to jump on the bike and get in heavy traffic and let the motor heat up. That would be bad. So the first couple rides, you take it real easy, and that's what you want to do for about 500 miles. I think after about 50 miles, you can go ahead and, you know, I think Redline was at 4,000 or something like that, where they want you to keep it. It's really hard to do because the bike wants to run, and you want to feel what it can do. So it's really hard to do for that first 500, but it's very important to do the break-in. The next question, the pre-assembly from Hammer, is it worth it? It absolutely is, guys. That is a hard, I mean, I haven't done it, but it intimidated me to gap the rings. Those things have to be gapped down to 1/1000th of an inch, and if you mess those up, it really hurts the performance of the package. So for 50 bucks, for those guys to do that for me, gap all the rings, pre-install the pistons and the cylinders, and just have it ready for me to go, was well worth it, and it really makes install a breeze. So if I was to do it all over again, I would definitely do that without a doubt. The next question I got was, how long did it take to install? Well, that's going to differ on skill sets, but for me, I took one solid day to take my bike apart. So what I did is I broke it all down. I labeled everything. I was very meticulous in the labeling. Like when I pulled the push rods out, I marked them front and rear cylinder. I marked them front and rear for that specific cylinder, and I marked the top and the bottom. So I didn't want to get anything mixed up. So I kept everything in its place. Everything was marked, and I took a lot of pictures when I was taking it apart. So that took me a day. The next day, I installed the new kit. And from start to finish, it probably took me 3, maybe 4 hours to do. Again, I was very meticulous in the install. I followed the instructions. I checked them twice. Torque settings were on the money. I did everything exactly how they told me to do it. So, you know, it took me about 3 or 4 hours. So, install. You know, if you know what you're doing and you have a good solid day and maybe a helper, you could do it in a day, without a doubt. I took 2. I was by myself, and I took my time, and I just didn't want to mess anything up. But it's not a hard install, guys. It's, like I said before, it's more intimidating than hard. So I think those were the questions I had. I just wanted to go through those real quick. It's just easier to do it on video than it is trying to type everything out. And I'd imagine if one person has a question, there's a lot of people that have the same question. So this way I can address a lot of people at one time. So I'm going to head to the park. Well guys, I think I'm going to end it here. Like always, I appreciate you guys watching and letting me waste your time. If you like this video, please hit that like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit this little button. Going to be right around the bottom right corner there. Hit that little button and it'll get you hooked right up. And like always guys, ride safe and be careful out there. Later.